I call this meeting to order. If you will give your attention to Councilwoman Ortiz, who will provide the invocation, stand as you are able, and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I welcome Shanae Calhoun to the podium, please. Tonight's invocation will be delivered by Elder Shanae Calhoun of El Shaddai Ministries Community Church. El Shaddai is located at the corner of 920 Southeast Sherman Avenue, Topeka, Kansas, 66607 in District 3. Woo woo. Apostolic E.T. Watson serves as the senior pastor. The church's mission is to love God, love people, and serve. They stay active in engaging the community through their fourth Sunday parking lot worship services in the summer, their outreach to help restock the community cupboard run by USD 501, and their participation in doing justice through Topeka Jump. Shanae is married to Mike Calhoun, a longtime basketball coach over at Highland Park. We won't hold that against him. Now at Goodyear, good move. And they have 3 girls, Jemiah in college, Micah at Highland Park, and Simone at Jardine Middle School, and the College Prep Academy at TCAL. And if there's anything else you'd like to add, feel free to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. And I will just invite you all to pray with me. Father God, we thank you for who you are, not just what you do, but who you are. Mighty in all of your ways, faithful in all your ways. And God, we're asking you to abide in this meeting this evening, asking that you would lead and guide the discussions and the decisions according to the will that you have for your people. Father, this community laments this evening with all that has happened over the last few days and weeks, from the attacks internationally and in Israel, and even to the violence that we're experiencing on our streets. Our hearts lament, and at the same time, we have hope. We have hope that you will fill community leaders with the boldness to be neighbors, to love you and to love our neighbors. God, I pray that you would give these elected officials, these leaders, these public servants, the wisdom and understanding and courage to do what our community so desperately needs to experience transformation in this time. God, we thank you for what you are doing, and we just want to be a part of what you're doing in this season. Move by your spirit and have your way. And may we be guided by the words written from inspiration of Micah 6:8, a passage that comes from the Talmud, which is a Jewish sacred text. May we be guided by these words that say, do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next item is the roll call. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Padilla.
Here.
Council members Hiller.
Here.
Valdivia Acala.
Here.
Ortiz.
Third time here.
Emerson.
Here.
Kale.
Here.
Nager.
Here.
Dobler.
Here.
Duncan. And Hofer.
Here.
We have 9 present.
Okay. Move on to agenda item number 2, appointments. Madam Clerk?
A is a board appointment recommending the appointment of Chance Lucas to the Topeka Metropolitan Transit Board for an unexpired term ending October 17, 2027.
Okay, you've heard the board appointment read. Is there a motion to accept? Motion to approve by Councilman Kell, second by Councilwoman Hiller. Let's see, we have to use our, roll call. Yeah, I have to use roll call, please.
Councilmembers Hiller,
Yes.
Valdivia Aquila,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Nager,
Yes.
Dobler,
Yes.
and Hofer.
Yes.
We have 8 yes, the motion carries.
Okay, motion's been carried. Mr. Lucas, I met him just a few moments ago. If I could ask you to stand, sir, congratulations, and thank you for stepping forward to serve the community. Move on to agenda item number 3, presentations. City Manager.
Mayor and governing body, Topeka Fire Chief Randy Phillips is going to make this is National Fire Prevention Month, and he's going to make a presentation to you called Close Before You Doze.
Good evening. This is our third in our little series here this month. I'd like to start off by thanking Councilwoman Ortiz for being the inspiration behind that. So as always, she's always a very strong supporter of our efforts with fire prevention and safety. Close before you doze is, once again, it's another catchphrase, but it is something that's very important and can be life-saving. In studies done by Underwriters Laboratories, it has been shown that by sleeping with your bedroom doors closed in the evening, that if a fire were to occur in your residence, that you can see a temperature difference of, in an area where fire is actually affecting up towards of 1,000 degrees in a residential structure, whereas if you're behind a closed door in a bedroom, it can be as low as 100 degrees, which will allow you a much longer survivability time in the event of a fire. As well as one of the real hazards in a fire to occupants is carbon monoxide and the other products of combustion. And their experiments have also shown that being in a bedroom that's closed off can reduce the carbon monoxide exposure for occupants by 90%. And so those are a couple of ways that sleeping with your bedroom door can keep you safer. Some other statistics that go along with this is that 50% of all home fire deaths occur between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. And I don't know about everybody else, but that's usually when most of us are sleeping soundly in our beds. Additionally, I would also like to talk for a minute about the importance of a home fire safety plan. This is something that we start with our educational efforts at the grade school level with our public education efforts. But we really want to encourage everyone as a family to put together a fire safety plan. Everybody should have at least 2 ways out of their home, especially from their bedrooms, whether that's teaching your kids how to go out a window as well as go out the front door or whatever that may be. Also, you want to have a designated meeting place. It can be a very hectic, very chaotic situation. And what we don't want to have happen is if you have a fire in your home and some of the residents make it out, not be sure if everyone has made it out and somebody re-enter the structure. We've seen that, personally I've seen that firsthand in my career where we had a resident that was able to make it out and actually went back in looking for a pet and unfortunately didn't survive. So it's very important to have that meeting place with your kids, to know where to go. It may even be a neighbor's house, but have that place and don't ever go back in. Once you're out, please don't ever go back in. So once again, this has been, our Fire Safety Prevention Week. October is the month that really is kind of focused on these efforts, and it's been our pleasure. I'll be on behalf of myself and everybody at the fire department to put these little presentations together, and I hope that if it even prevents even one person in our community from being injured or, heaven forbid, killed in a fire, then it's been worth every second that we spend doing this. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate all the attention you bring to this effort. Councilwoman Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank you, Chief Phillips, for following my vision here. It is one step at a time, one life at a time, one smoke detector at a time. I cannot express that. If you don't have a smoke detector, we have them free, and let our firefighters who are I'm looking for a word here, but anyway, who are the experts, there we go, and putting them in. I see everybody looking down. I need some people to raise their hand if they need an application. We can get you that application. It's free. All you got to do is fill it out. Just make sure that you and your family are safe. Okay?
And I would reiterate, even if it means just stopping by a local fire station, they can get you set up, get you in contact, or get you the application, and we can get that taken care of for you.
So you may think that you need 15 and you don't. You might think that that one is going to be good and you might need another one. So however it is, let's make sure that we do that because it's getting ready to get cold. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You got your fire detectors, Mr. Mayor?
I do.
Okay, all right. Do you have working smoke
They're
detectors?
working.
Okay.
Change the batteries regularly and everything else.
Okay.
I don't want you showing up at my door banging on it. So, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. City Manager, the next presentation.
We will have a report on the alternative sentencing court update by Becca Spielman, YMCA Program Director, Center for Safety and... No, on the wrong one.
Domestic violence. It's domestic violence.
Okay,
Last week.
Or not.
we're on it,
Hi,
but just
Becca.
hold on. All right. So the next one is, my mistake, I apologize. I have the right paperwork before me now. The Task Force Against Domestic Violence report. The Mayor's Task Force Against Domestic Violence.
Good evening, Becca.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone here. Thank you, Mayor Padilla, Interim City Manager Neinstead, City Council members for the opportunity to speak with you once again on behalf of the Mayor's Task Force Against Domestic Violence. Thank you. It is especially fitting to be presenting this information during October, which, as many of you know, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. As previously mentioned, my name is Becca Spielman, and I am the Program Director for YWCA Northeast Kansas's Center for Safety and Empowerment, as well as a facilitator of the Mayor's Task Force Against Domestic Violence, which is what I'm going to share with you all today, information that we have collected. Our task force mission is to hold domestic violence offenders accountable and to ensure victim safety through collaboration, education, and prevention for a safe and just community in Shawnee County. I am joined here with several members of the task force, and at this time, if you all want to raise your hand and show, woo, look at that. And so we're really proud of the opportunity to come and talk with you today. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are in the work to hold offenders accountable and to ensure victim safety. We're comprised of a team of professionals from a variety of professional aspects, walks of life, community sectors, who are dedicated to the elimination of domestic violence in Shawnee County. Statistically speaking, on a national level, 1 in 3 women, 1 in 4 men, and 1 out of every 2 gender non-binary or trans-identified individual will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. So when we think about what that looks like within Shawnee County, we're talking about thousands of people potentially who could be utilizing our services and may be experiencing violence in their home. The statistical report that you have in front of you captures data from the Shawnee County District Attorney's Office, Kansas Legal Services, local law enforcement agencies, the Disability Rights Center of Kansas, battering intervention programs, medical and health providers, as well as victim services providers, and all of these statistics come from calendar year 2022. So just to give you kind of an idea of who all is involved, as I mentioned, we have a number of sectors, number of people from various sectors in our community who are here and a part of the mayor's task force. One group that I wanted to really highlight is Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas. They actually facilitate a subcommittee. It's a corporate subcommittee that focuses on how do we create safe workplaces in this community. And so I wanted to make sure to let you all know that that is an option for many employers in the community to be a part of their subcommittee and learn more about how to develop practices and policies that will keep survivors safe in the workplace. So these next two slides give us a little bit information about what we're seeing in Shawnee County. And so some of the statistics are specifically related to Shawnee County as a whole. Some of them are Topeka specific as well. So definitely let me know if you have any questions. But from this first slide and the second slide, it's pretty evident that we're seeing just how significant this issue is within our communities. Okay. So in Topeka alone, in 2022, there were 1,764 domestic violence calls responded to by the Topeka Police Department alone. There were 992 lethality assessments, which is a tool that is used to measure the level of danger that folks are experiencing in their relationship, who were completed by the Topeka Police Department during these calls. And in the same year, there were 778 domestic violence cases filed by the Shawnee County District Attorney, 104 battering intervention assessments completed by the Family Peace Initiative and Washtage Peacemakers Men's Project. We know that relationship violence isn't just affecting the people who are directly involved, but it is affecting our communities, our neighborhoods. It's affecting bystanders, schools. Every walk of life is impacted, not only by these statistics, but by the things that we're seeing in our community. Furthermore, we have 543 patients were flagged for abuse, domestic violence, and human trafficking through Stormont Vale Health. 108 individuals living in Shawnee County received services from the Kansas Department of Corrections. Those were victims specifically. And 869 victims and survivors were served by the YWCA Center for Safety and Empowerment, specifically those living in Shawnee County. So a few things I just want to mention briefly about the report. So some of the major findings, some of the opportunities for growth that we've seen. So we have a number of groups, organizations who've put together these statistics. So I think it's really important that we acknowledge just how much work went into putting their information into this report so that we could all see it today. And the high level of participation really gives us a more robust understanding of what's happening in our community. It allows us to see the full scope of domestic violence within the community, not just those who are being served by the Center for Safety and Empowerment, but those who might be coming through the hospital, for example, those who might be utilizing legal methods for providing safety, but aren't necessarily working with the Center for Safety and Empowerment. And then now that we have a second year, we can start to see that not only is there a great need for awareness in the community and education around these issues so that we know how to best help and serve and connect people to the resources in the community, but we can also start to establish and develop trends and see differences from year to year. Are things getting better? Are they improving? Do we have areas that we want to target or spend more time and energy connecting with? So this is the second of what I can only imagine is many years of an annual report. So hopefully we'll have a better statistical understanding of the issue from year to year. So thank you very much for the opportunity to submit this report to you all. I have my contact information in the annual report. So if you have further questions, you're welcome to ask of us at this time. Otherwise, you can reach me directly through my contact information. So, thank you.
Councilman Kell.
Becca? Do you have another copy of the report? We were one short there, so.
We do have one
Okay.
copy.
And then
Thank you, Kathleen.
with this data gathering, do you map it out to see if there's like any hot spots in Because I know like low income or lower education can be considered risk factors for domestic violence. So I wasn't sure if you guys map it on the city map to try to figure out maybe where more educational things should be flowing to.
That's a great question. So at the Center for Safety and Empowerment, we do occasionally collect that data, but it is not a requirement for folks to receive services to know exactly what their zip code is if they do in fact have a zip code of residence. I believe that we could probably talk with our local law enforcement agencies and see if they could provide a map as well in terms of who they're responding to and what communities.
Chief Wheels just raised his thumb.
You're raising your hand?
Yep.
Thumbs up, thumbs
Yep.
up. So I think that would be a really interesting component to this as well. I agree with that. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Further questions for Becca? Becca, if I could, I think I see it in here somewhere, but maybe on the third page. Do you have a sense of how many children are involved in a lot of these reported cases, and maybe the age range of those children in these reported cases?
So specifically for the Center for Safety and Empowerment, we do collect information on children, but a lot of times the children, it's only when they're involved in the service receipt. So if they are staying in our shelter, for example, then we can report out on how many children are being impacted that way. That would be another really good thing that I think we should try to get more information on, because I know that one of the areas that we're missing in terms of the mayor's task force is adding schools and other youth services organizations as part of that. So getting a better idea of how this is impacting kids would be great. Thank you.
You brought up something in schools. I was with a group of educators this morning. The schools are doing a great job, I think, in really working with their students and really being on the alert for signs of domestic abuse. And are they active reporting agency or group to the task force on numbers that they see or trends that they see in the school district, so that that information can be shared so we can respond accordingly?
You know, we have talked about the need to have representation from the school districts at the mayor's task force meeting, and I think it's a matter of me taking the next steps to make sure that the right person is contacted. So at this point, no, there is not reporting. We're not asking of them, and they're not providing it to us. But I think we could do that for the next report.
Okay. Well, I would encourage you if you have that opportunity. 'Cause I know,
Absolutely.
speaking with Dr. Anderson, they're very interested in doing what they can
That would be wonderful.
to help contribute to the effort.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And I assume that we would want other school districts as well that we
Oh,
would be
yeah.
looking at, but specifically for Topeka 501. Okay.
Well, thank you for your report, and thank you for everyone associated with the task force and what they do. I appreciate the work, especially right now. It seems to be worthy of special note because of the conditions that we have seen in the last month or so.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, and thank you for your ongoing support. Really
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Becky. Is that you or me? Pardon me? Yeah.
You gotta put it on speaker and let everyone hear it.
My apologies. I forgot about that phone. Now we'll move on to agenda item number 4, the consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
A is approval of utilities engineering contract between the City of Topeka and Bartlett and West Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $3,519,000 for engineering services. B is approval of a utilities engineering contract between the City of Topeka and Alfred Benish and Company in the amount not to exceed $165,100 for engineering services. C is an ordinance introduced by interim city manager Richard Neinstead concerning the Housing Trust Fund, amending City of Topeka Code Sections 2-105, 010, and 070, and repealing original sections. D are minutes of the regular meeting of October 10, 2023, and there are no applications.
Okay, you've heard the consent agenda is read. Entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Councilman Emerson, seconded by Councilman Kell. If you'll call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Valdivia Akala,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Nager,
Yes.
Dobler,
All abstain.
Hofer,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hiller.
Yes.
We have 8 yes with 1 abstention. The motion carries.
Okay, motion's carried. We'll move on to agenda item 5, action items, if the clerk will read.
A is an ordinance introduced by interim city manager Richard Neinstead relating to the vacation of a 20-foot wide public alley extending east and west and located between properties lying at 410 Southwest 6th Avenue and 523 Southwest Harrison Street in the city of Topeka, Shawnee County, Kansas.
City manager.
Mayor and governing body, Dan Warner, our planning division director, will address you on this particular agenda item.
Dan?
Mayor, governing body, the property owner and staff continue to work with the affected utilities that could be impacted by the vacation of that alley. Still no resolution on whether or not to require a utility easement, so we ask that you defer this to November 21st, and hopefully we'll be back with something to talk about then.
Second.
Okay, motion to defer to the 21st of November, is that what you said, Dan? Correct. Okay, by Councilwoman Ortiz, second by Councilman Emerson. If you call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Ortiz,
Yes.
Emerson,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Nager,
Yes.
Dobler,
Yes.
Hofer,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Councilmembers Hiller,
Yes.
and Valdivia Akala.
Yes.
We have 9 yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Move on to action item 5B. Brenda?
B is approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Topeka and the Boys and Girls Club of Topeka regarding strategies against violence everywhere, S.A.V.E. program funding for 2024.
Okay, city manager.
So, Mayor and governing body, this, if you approve this, what that does is our interlocal agreement, our funding agreement with them would then go into order, would then be put into place for the $75,000 for the program. So Lindsay Anderson, S.A.V.E. program project manager, is here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. We've heard this item read. Is there anyone who has any questions? Okay.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Valdivia Akala.
I have comments. I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Before I vote, I am going to be in support of this. We had a lengthy conversation and a packed crowd moving forward on saving this funds and increasing the funds for youth for the Boys and Girls Club. As I stated the last time, I believe that we can walk and chew gum at the same time, which means, yes, we know that youth programming is important. As we all know, we have surpassed the historical rate of homicides in this city from 2017. I don't know if you all received, but I received, and I think it's probably part of will be in the minutes, is another letter from Topeka Jump that I just want to read something briefly on. I'm not going to read the whole letter because that is up to Jump to send a representative to do that for public comment. I also want to make sure that folks know that Dr. Robert Kege's letter of deep concern in July of 2023 was forwarded as part of their, what I believe is their public comment input that they gave. And I've also added to the record on my part from the police, from the Special Committee Police and Community meeting dated February 24th of 2022, the detailed minutes were District Attorney Kage gave a presentation on what appears to have been the transition S.A.V.E. program. And then the original it's 2-page statement of what the original S.A.V.E. program was meant to be. Going to what the Jump has stated, there's a problem we have seen before in 2019, hundreds of thousands of public and private dollars were spent to bring group violence intervention to Topeka. And instead of giving the evidence-based GVI model a chance to succeed, a completely different program was implemented based on youth mentorship. GVI and other violence reduction programs have specific protocols in place to help intervene in the midst of violent situations like we find ourselves in here in Topeka, Kansas at this time. From Robert Kagay, the president and CEO of Stormont. While Topeka and Shawnee County are not alone in this escalation of troubling violence, we see it in the headlines from other cities. It is our responsibility to bring safety and calm back to our community. We must collectively come together to find solutions that work for our city, county, and region. We support and encourage you as elected officials to step forward and lead this discussion to facilitate solutions, of which Stormont Vale pledges to be a part of. Some of the original partners beyond the city and the county were Stormont Vale, Memorandum 2022 at the time, Department of Corrections, Topeka Center for Peace and Justice, JUMP, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. To my understanding, with this transition over to almost exclusively youth-based dollars going towards S.A.V.E. Again, we understand the youth programming is important, but it neglected and cast aside the GVI model, is that these entities fell off the chart in receiving communication about what the original S.A.V.E. was supposed to do, since the original S.A.V.E. was not implemented. So I just want to say again, I'm going to support this, but I do have a meeting this week with Topeka JUMP and other advocates to move forward to see if there's something that we can do proactively as a city, as this situation continues to rise, that is based on the hundreds of thousands of dollars in time and effort and actual dollars spent on trying to bring this GVI model forward. That was actually an agreed upon initiative, but that ended up dissolving. And so I'll be having those meetings with whoever I have to see if we can bring something forward. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Kell.
I know on the reports, it says reports are due every quarter. I would like to, probably at the 6-month mark, have a presentation to kind of see where things are going. You know, just so we know kind of what's going on with this, with, you know, the demographics that they have to pull and things like that. So in this way, we know where the money's going and how it's being used and things like that. So we're open and transparent as possible with the tax dollars. Thank you.
Okay. Further comments or any, is Lindsay back there? There she is, yeah. Lindsay's here, so if you have anything directly.
I'm just going to move approval.
Okay.
Mayor.
Motion to approve by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Kell. If you call the roll, please.
Council members Emerson,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Nager,
Yes.
Dobler,
Yes.
Hofer,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Council members Hiller,
Yes.
Valdivia Akala,
Yes.
and Ortiz.
Yes.
We have 9 yes, motion carries.
Okay, the motion's carried. We'll move to agenda item 5C. If the clerk will read.
C is a resolution introduced by interim city manager Richard Neinstead regarding the purchase and management of the Hotel Topeka.
Mr. City Manager.
So Mayor and governing body, if you approve this resolution, it authorizes the completion of the purchase of Hotel Topeka. It creates a single-purpose entity owned by the city that takes title and expenditure of public funds to operate and maintain the hotel, with the final, with what we hope to achieve in the end is to find a new buyer for the hotel, so that a private entity owns that hotel.
Okay. Councilman Emerson.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a constituent ask me last night, it was actually also my wife, why we need this special purpose. That's not what it is. What is it technically? It's called a,
Yeah, you're right.
is it called a single purpose entity?
And we had great reasons for it, and she probably.
I will turn to my legal
Thank
counsel
you.
to answer that.
That'd be great.
Sure, Councilman. A single-purpose entity allows us to obtain necessary insurance. It allows us to have a financial string that allows easier auditing, reporting. It also allows transferability. It's a standard setup in other cities that use this as well.
Thank you. I'll start calling you anytime we have arguments and let you know you want to talk. So, thank you very much.
Councilman Cal.
I know we've all gotten a lot of emails, phone calls, questions of why do we get in the hotel business? I know all of us have kind of different reasons on what's going on here and are for or against it. My only kind of thing is I just hope as a group we can come together, whether you're for or against it, we own it now. So it's one of those things that we need to do what's best for it and best for Topeka, and just kind of move forward with it. And as the interim city manager said, try to find someone to run it and then eventually own it and get it off our hands. Like I said before, we kind of own it now, so we got to run with it. Thank you.
Further comment? Deputy Mayor.
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Deputy Mayor Dobler.
Second.
Second by Councilman Emerson. If you'll call the roll, please.
Councilmembers Kell,
Yes.
Nager,
Yes.
Dobler,
Yes.
Hofer,
Yes.
Mayor Padilla,
Yes.
Councilmembers Hiller,
Yes.
Valdivia Akala,
No.
Ortiz. And Emerson.
Yes.
All right, we have 7 yes with Councilmembers Valdivia, Akala, and Ortiz voting no. The motion carries.
Okay. Motion's carried, and that's the last of our action items for tonight's agenda. We move to public comment. We have 4 people signed up. Again, as a reminder, our procedure is to allow each person an initial 4 minutes to present to the council. The green light starts when you start. The yellow light gives you an alert that you have 1 minute, and the red light is the end of your 4 minutes. So I'll call the first person, Mr. Deister, Mr. Chris Deister.
Greetings, Mayor Padilla, City Council persons, City Manager Neenstedt, and City Attorney Amanda Stanley. Please recall, if you will, the 3 categories of the vagrant homeless dilemma here in Topeka, Shawnee County that I have mentioned. And I mention this for the sake of clear and easier communications so that we can approach each category with respect. If we have true love, true concern for the category 3s, the intransigents, as persons and God's creatures, then we'll have an ordinance and police empowerment with the power and means to arrest and detain. We'll establish, maintain, or improve the ordinance we have that is as clear as an arrow on a one-way sign with no stipulated exceptions. That is for the health, safety, and security and peace and the very lives of everyone, even the trespassers. This sign, this one-way sign, is clear and doesn't condemn anyone. It says we offer one way down this street. It's a street of safety for all. It's a street of benefactor to all. And that's what we have to offer, is a one-way street. We don't offer a two-way sign on a one-way street. So we all have to come to grips with reality. And if persons don't want the emergency food, clothing, shelter this city and county so generously offers, then trespassers are free to go wherever else they wish. Perhaps another county will cater to their desires at that county's expense. And I do not mean to be in any way flippant. It's simply the reality of a cold stop, which we all have needed in life from birth to now. We know that. This county has offered hope. County has offered people life itself, and our laws lead to life. But as a very famous man has said, there is a way that seems right to a man, but it can lead to death. Dead things, dead ideas, dead people, dead thoughts that go nowhere. We have a great deal to offer here in Topeka for those in need. We do want to do all we can to help. For instance, for the Category 2's offenders, the mentally ill, we must be able to arrest them, to hear them, and refer them for mandatory help, not invite them. And hopefully, we will someday have a cooperation with the state to build a mental health hospital here on what I foresee is the TRC, or Topeka Rescue Campus. I name it that way to distinguish it from Topeka Rescue Mission, which is on its own unique, vital part, and hopefully we'll collaborate with the city county so that we can get someplace and really establish this as an answer for all. We'll be a model of care if we are courageous enough to say no to the intransigents that don't want the help we offer. We'll be a model of care and courage and add to the peace of Topeka, Shawnee. Let's stop wringing our hands, and that not because it is an extremely complicated situation, because the complication ends up being a little bit between our ears, because 2 more minutes?
Is there a motion to allow 2 more minutes?
Sure, 2 minutes.
Okay, second?
So let's stop wringing our hands. Excuse me.
Sir. Allow us to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. 2 more minutes.
Let's stop wringing our hands, and that not because it is an extremely complicated, horrible mess of thought, because it's not. It's a matter of facing people because we're all concerned and feel uncomfortable in saying no where we must, just with our own families and our own children. Our offer is compassionate, caring, and sacrificial, self-sacrificial. Us Topekans. And we'll not force our mercies on anyone, nor will we be bullied into forcing our mercies on anyone, by anyone. And I say that with fear and trembling, knowing that this is hard to do, but it is a solution, and the only solution that really makes sense as far as wisdom goes and understanding. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Henry McClure.
Your Honor, Henry, I'm asking for 3 things tonight. Number 1, we need to hire an expediter. We need to hire an expediter within the city of Topeka to handle plans, to work with planning, to work with development services, to get permits. We need to hire them today. Now, let me paint a little picture here. And I want to talk to you about economic development starting in the neighborhoods. And I want to talk to you about the Flynn Group. I want to talk to you about a company that had $4.5 billion in sales last year, that operate 2,600 Applebee's, Taco Bell's, Panera's, Arby's, Pizza Hut, and Wendy's. So this is a company that has the wherewithal to understand development and have done deals at least over 2,600 times. They know what's going on. They come to Topeka, Kansas. Mark Rizak, who's one of the top commercial real estate brokers, calls me in March of 2022. We signed a contract in April. They still don't have a permit. They're still not open. The east side of Topeka, District 4, look at California Crossing and the way it sits. They deserve a new Pizza Hut. Can't move them 675 feet. Economic development starts in the neighborhood, so let's hire an expediter. Where are we going to get the money? Well, it was a piece of art how at the Jetto meeting it was pointed out that we don't have funds to tear down a hotel. It was artful the way we did it. We marched people up and said, we don't have the money, Henry. So what we do is we change the whole economic development system to pay as you go. Everybody's pay as you go. Let's put everybody on the same playing field. So right now, oh, and also I heard, well, if we start having individuals come forward, that would open up Pandora's box. Well, $5 million goes to economic development out of that sales tax, and you spend 1.943208, which is 38.86% to administer the $5 million. You're not going to extend me, so I'm not going to ask. But let me tell you, so the next thing we do is we defund your contractor that manages that money and just pay as you go. You'd have over $3 million you could put in the water department, start fixing pipes. Well, the second thing we got to do real quick is hire a traffic engineer. And you can do it with the 1.9 million. I think there's even some funds left over for some of the people that might have got fired during the city manager debacle. But where were these people? Where was the voice of reason when it came to buying a hotel? You guys are so up in controlling the market, you choke it. You choke the market. Pay as you go, list all the real estate that you've got. There's the Topeka Board of Realtors, put them to work. We all work for free.
Henry,
Yes, sir.
would you like 2 more minutes?
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Any opposed?
There's probably one.
Gotcha. 2 more minutes.
That's all right, Sylvia. Thank you for your vote tonight. A voice of reason. Where were these team experts? Where are they now?
Let's get back to your 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes. Hiring a traffic engineer. Every deal, it's always the traffic engineer holding it up. It's always the traffic study. These things, like 15 grand a pop. The system's rigged. The engineers have got it all. They're working with each other. Hey, we got to have a traffic study. Let me tell you something. When I came home from Stormont Vale, July 13th, or I came home about the 16th, 1959, Gage Boulevard was a dirt road. So we got the same amount of people just about, and look at how the network has grown. We haven't, so there's not that big influx of people that needs all these traffic studies. But if we have an in-house traffic study, a traffic engineer, let's start funding our own city so it can be done in-house. Expedite plan approval, all the traffic studies are done in-house. On the Pizza Hut deal, I just said, why don't we agree to the plat notes that Chipotle had? Wasn't good enough. We got to make it to where little guys, you don't have to be a multimillionaire to be able to develop in this town. You got to make it to where the little guys can make a living in this community. Economic development starts in the neighborhoods. And let's fund our own future. Give our own, I bet if you asked every department head, is there somebody that they could use to, out of that 1.9 million that go to Topeka? They'd say yes. Thank you for the 2 minutes. Appreciate your time and consideration, Your Honor. You're a good man. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. I got one. I'm a fan.
Paul Leslie. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. When I think about all the things that the city council has done, I'm totally amazed that y'all get something done. And it's all for the good, it seems like. I'm grateful. But when you talk about code violations versus tenant safety, why put that first? You know, tenant safety should be paramount. It should be the number one thing. A person's life is more important than a chuck hole. You know, you bring so much pressure on these people over code violations, and yet our safety, our physical safety, as well as our property safety, is not worth an ordinance. These trees are not going to go away. They're just going to keep falling little by little. The older they get, it's just a fact of nature. And I just pray every night, you know, that the wind don't blow too hard. And there's a whole lot of people in there the same way. We've suffered a lot of damage this year. It just gets worse every year because of the overgrowth. You can't solve that by trimming, you know, you have to remove those dead trees, and you have to top the ones that are a threat to the safety and lives of people that live there. I can't. It's just what does it take to get an ordinance? I mean, if you can make them crawl and shiver over code violations, look how much more important than the safety, our physical safety is. And the more that they don't have to do anything and able to shuffle from one LC to the next, or some phony owner, you know, that couldn't afford his own house hardly, you know, something's wrong with that problem, you know, with that picture. You know, nobody wants to be held accountable over this trailer park. And I mean, they're more worried about the code violations. They laugh about the trees. They run around with a clipboard and a can of spray paint, you know, like they was going to do something, you know, and they cut one little tree down in the middle of the park. It was only 6 foot tall to start with, and they planted it right in front of my house with the paint on it, you know. So they're mocking me. They're mocking our safety. Thank you.
Sir, you still have a minute to go, if you wish.
Yeah, I'll get used to this.
You're fine.
If I had one wish, just Lord, give me one wish. You know, I've already had everything I could ever ask for. You know, whether it was my fault I lose it or I keep it. You know, the only wish I got left is that somebody tried to save life in my trailer park and hold these people accountable somehow. Without teeth, an ordinance is going to have teeth, you know. Your code violations, they have teeth, right? That's the only thing. You have to look at them to see it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Antoinette McFalls.
This is my first time here, you guys. So.
Welcome.
Hello, good evening, everybody. So I'm gonna piggyback off of my guy, Paul. I live in the same community as him, and I'm sad for him because nobody is being held accountable, and it's unfortunate. And I just really think I don't know how to help the whole ordinance situation or what to do. I had a big branch in my yard, and I'm single, so Paul had to help me. They got branches in my yard right now. They're big, and I've asked them to do something with them. I'm really close to burning them myself because that's really all that I can do. Because I'm only one person, I'm not really versed in the branch and tree world. But I did have one. He helped me break it down, and I don't think people's voices are heard. So this would probably be why I've never come to one, never come to a meeting. But now that I'm here and I see other people saying what they need to say, I just might come to a few more just to have my voice heard, because I think it's really important to hold landlords and property owners, and I really think it's important to hold them accountable. So I don't know where to start, but I do plan on getting more information on how to make that happen, because I think it's really unfair, especially with people having children. It's really terrible to have a big branch that you may maybe it's a single mom or single father that maybe can't break a branch down or something, and then we have nobody to go to. So I don't know, maybe something big. I'm gonna be very simple and I'm not gonna be that long, but I just hope somebody can do something, because it's been going on for quite a few months now or more. So thank you. Have a blessed one.
Thank you. Okay, that's the last person signed up for public comments. We'll move to announcements. Brenda?
So the November 7th governing body meeting was canceled due to general elections. That's pursuant to Resolution 9380. So the next scheduled governing body meeting is November 14th.
Thank you. City Manager?
I have several, Mayor and governing body, I have to read from. So, the City of Topeka's public safety team, public and fire departments are honored to bring back the 8th annual Trunk or Treat. So join them on Halloween night from 6 to 8 p.m. in downtown Topeka near Evergy Plaza. Halloween night, 6 to 8 p.m., downtown Topeka near Evergy Plaza. And it says here that Councilman Emerson will be down there in costume, okay? So, and public safety agencies from across the community will be in attendance, providing candy and a fun and safe environment for kids to trick or treat. So they have these in other communities also, and it is a safe place for your children, for your grandchildren to go participate and meet dignitaries.
And for Allison.
And Mayor, governing body, that's all I have.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would hope that they would have more than one line, that they would have two maybe going, because it seems like we go through one line and people are out there for a long time. So I hope that message gets back. So our next meeting is November the 14th, and that gives you plenty of time to get your smoke detectors before the end of the month. I just wanted to reiterate that. And also, don't forget to vote Doesn't matter who you vote for, but just exercise your voting rights. Good luck to everybody. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Emerson.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Kell.
Well, since this is mine and Councilman Emerson's favorite time of year, since he looks like Herman Munster and I look like Uncle Fester, we get along. Halloween is a day, I found this quote, Halloween is a day when we get it right. Strangers come to us, beautiful, ugly, odd, or scary, and we accept them without question. Compliment them, treat them kindly, and give them good things. Why don't we live like this? So that's another quote I saw that was very inspirational. As it comes to Halloween, please make sure you watch out for your children. Make sure that they have on glow sticks, reflective material, or have a mask where they can see. Watch them as they're crossing streets. Explain the rules that you want your children to abide by and their expectations, such as more likely not going in anyone's houses. Good alternatives are the trunk or treats. They're all over Topeka. There's several. My wife and I have participated in a few over the last couple of years. Since our kids are grown, we miss out, so we go out and experience ourselves. Check in on your children. It's one of those things, certain kids get to that age, they still want to trick or treat, but they don't want their parents around. So it's always good maybe to find the area they're going to and just give it a drive-by. I always told my daughters at any point I could drive by, so I know what you're up to. And then just watch out for vandalism. The police are going to be busy enough that day. Watch out for that. Talk to your kids about vandalism. I understand it's supposed to be spooky, it's supposed to be fun, but just destroying stuff isn't fun, especially when people spend their hard-earned money on it. And as Councilwoman Ortiz says, please get out to vote. And everyone that has that right and that privilege should do it, because everyone sits there and says, well, I don't vote because of this or that. You're the one that's going to make the change in that if you do get out and vote. Don't let the extremes on both sides be the voice. Let the majority be the voice. Thank you.
Councilwoman Nager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to pile on what everybody else has said, please get out to vote this upcoming November. If you want more information about this upcoming election, please go to the Shawnee County website, snco.us/election for more information. And I also encourage you to reach out to look at what our media coverage has gone ahead and published on these different candidates. And if you have the chance, meet them in person and get to know them before you cast your ballot. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dobler. Okay. Councilwoman Hofer.
Next week on October 25th at 5:30 p.m., there will be the first meeting for the utilities projects for the Polk Quincy Viaduct. This one will affect First Street, I believe, between Polk and Taylor. If you're interested, you know anybody who drives in that area, the street will be closed. I do not know for how long yet, but please come. They're going to have the information boards so you can figure out how it might affect your neighbors or even going to work. I'm guessing that they're going to have the boards. It's not going to be a formal presentation. So you could probably come in and out in 15 minutes, find out what you need to. It's going to be the first of, I believe, 6 or 7 projects going down in the South River District. And so get ready for construction. It's starting soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilwoman Hiller.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things. One, I want to echo others' comments about trunk and treats and Halloween. My dream for my neighborhoods is to see people starting to go door to door again. To me, that's the sign that we've made it all the way. It's nice to see the trunk and treats getting closer and closer, and more folks trusting on their own or with their parents along. going door to door again like we used to. So enjoy, enjoy. I have a fun note to share, information I got today. I think most of you were maybe on this council 2 years ago when I had the invocations, and Joe Mitchell from Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation gave our invocation for us, both in native language as well as then translating it for us into English. It was his first time to do it. He said he was kind of nervous about it, but it was really powerful and wonderful to have here. And he sent me a note this morning that somehow things have pinged from that point to now, and he gave a similar invocation in both languages at the Democratic National Convention in St. Louis in front of thousands of people today, or on this past weekend, just before Indigenous Peoples Day as well. And it was powerful for him and for them. So shout out to Joe, and for us to be a place where people can begin to make those kinds of community connections. I'm proud of that. And last, just some comments. A little more of a downer, I guess, but for me, and I think for an awful lot of people in town, it's been a hard 2 weeks with the, and I just want to express condolences to the many individuals and families who've lost family members and friends, particularly our young people and children, to violence. And just wanted to share with everyone, that commitment to doing what we can. We heard some good things today about people that are working on making the community better. There's not just one solution. And it does strike me to mention one of those pieces. I know that gun violence is only part of the solution, and addressing that. But I hope we could work with others to get local control of gun control back into our cities. We had worked really hard together as a council with the police, the council and the community members, really not that many years ago, to come up with a strategy that we felt was the right balance for gun use and gun visibility in this community. And it wasn't not long after that the state decided they wanted to take control and allow open carry everywhere and take it out of our hands. And I don't know how hard it would be, but it was a community consensus here, and we were all on board with what we were doing for prevention and for gun control. Our ordinance didn't prohibit use of guns or ownership of guns, but it did prohibit display of them commonly, either in carry or in vehicle. So just wanted to put in a 2 cents that I'd like to see what we could do to get that back.
Thank you. Councilwoman Valdivia Acala.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to state that expressing condolences to those that loved and cared for in a real way Laurencia Perez Valer, the 4-year-old that was killed in Oakland on Saturday. We just keep seeing the numbers go up and up, and the amount of young people and children that have died in Topeka in 2023 is staggering. And so all I can say with that is that I'm going to do whatever I can for action, and I hope that we can work together and find common ground with that. So also, I just wanted to state that the data walk will be taking place on October 30th, and that's being put on by Topeka Community Foundation, United Way, and Kansas Health. That, and I think it is on October 26th, the poverty simulation. Both of these, to me, feel like they may be a little bit groundbreaking for Topeka, in that community leaders are really being called and encouraged to attend. And we understand that poverty is a in indicator of huge vulnerability and safety in children. So I'm going to put, my efforts into attending both of these because it is definitely something that I need to understand more. I came from poverty on both sides of my family, but never with the violence attached to it. So this will be a learning experience, and I'm grateful for the invitations. And everybody stay safe on Halloween. Keep your lights on. Go with your kids. Don't let them go alone. And watch what it is that they have in their bags, because yes, it has come to that in our community. Thank you, Mayor.
I'd like to follow up on what Councilwoman Valdivia Alcala suggests. If you have an opportunity, and I'm not just speaking to this governing body, but the community as a whole, if you've never experienced that experiment in poverty, it's something that I think you will remember. So if you have the opportunity to participate, and I thought it was kind of eye-opening the times I was there, is that even some of the service providers were surprised at how difficult it was to get through some of the resources. So it is an eye-opening experience. So if you have the opportunity, please participate. I want to thank the City of Lawrence for their participation in the city swap that we had recently. They came to Topeka, and quite honestly, they were very impressed with the community. They were very cordial, and then the following day, we visited Lawrence, and I learned a few things about Lawrence that I did not know, and I think it's easy sometimes to make assumptions about our neighbors, and I think it was a good step in the right direction with regards to thinking regionally on how we can be successful. So I want to thank them for their participation. It is flu season. Remind everyone who has the opportunity to get the flu vaccination. And if you are so inclined to get the new vaccinations for COVID, I experienced that here about 3 weeks ago. So I know that it's an important thing to do. And finally, I'm wearing this purple ribbon as an acknowledgement of this being a week without violence, something that the YWCA has promoted for decades. And I encourage people, I think it's perfectly timed for this community, and to have the presentation we had tonight with regards to the Mayor's Task Force on Domestic Violence. There are a lot of things that are happening. There are a lot of things that are being presented to help us through this time, because we will prevail as a community. We always have. We just need to look to those opportunities that we can contribute to the success of our community. So thank you very much. There is no, did you shut up? Okay. There is no executive session tonight. A round of applause. Yeah. And there being no further business that comes before this body. Oh, City Manager, after all?
I did, but I wanted you to finish first, Mayor.
Well, I don't want to adjourn the meeting until you're ready.
So may I?
Please.
So I want to kind of dovetail on something that Councilwoman Ortiz said. Remember Veterans Day. Remember, there are a number of people at this bench who have worn the uniform of this country and served it, and they have children, and they have other relatives. And I ask you to remember them on Veterans Day. Pay a visit to your national cemetery. Just walk up and down those rows and just think about what you read, and you will see what the price of freedom is in this country. There is a reason why we don't have tanks at the doors of City Hall. There are reasons why, while we may get a little upset at losing elections, we don't overthrow governments in this country. And that's because we've had people stand at the vanguard for us, wearing the uniform of this country and defending those principles of freedom for not only this country, but for those nations around the world that want to enjoy freedom also. So please think of a vet on Veterans Day. Think of a vet every day of the year. And we have a number of vets in our homeless population that, for whatever reason, are suffering themselves. And sometimes all they need is some help to get to the VA so that they can get some help to come back to society. So thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Andy.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate those comments. There being no further business come before the body, the meeting is adjourned.